So now we are at stage 5, paragraph page triple three, 333. Okay,
Okay.
and our last head word was cheese, newer type of lesson. Okay, let's start with revision. Ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Are the bottoms of your shoes clean? Are the bottoms of your shoes clean? No, the
No,
bottoms of my shoes
my shoes is
aren't clean. They're
aren't
dirty.
they are dirty.
Ragged, when our shoes are dirty, what should we do? When our shoes are dirty, what should we do? When our
When
shoes are
shoes
dirty, we
are
should
dirty,
clean them.
we should clean them.
Ragged, which do you think is the cleanest city you know of? Which do you think is the cleanest city you know of? I think
I think Sapporo is the cleanest city
city
I
I know of.
know.
Oh, in Hokkaido. Yeah, very good.
Yes,
Yeah, very good. And which do you think is the dirtiest? Which do you think is the dirtiest? I think
I think
ABC City
the city
is the dirtiest.
the dirtiest.
And that's the safest answer. Very good. ABC City. Okay. Which do you think is less unpleasant? The dirt of the city or the dirt of the country, of the farm, etc.? Which do you think is less unpleasant? The dirt of the city or the dirt of the country, of the farm, etc.? I think
I
the
think
dirt
dirt
of
of
the
city
is less unpleasant
and
than the dirt
present
of the country, of the farm,
country
etc.
are etc.
Very good. Do you remember if you were afraid of the dark when you were a little child? Do you remember if you were afraid of the dark when you were a little child? Yes or no?
Yes,
I
I
remember I
remember
was afraid of the dark
of the
when I
dark when
was a little child.
I was a child.
Greg, would you be afraid to go round the world in a small open boat? Would you be afraid to go round the world in a small open boat? Yes or no?
Yes,
I would
I
be afraid
would be
to go
afraid,
round the world in a
but
small
in
open
a
boat.
small boat.
Very good. People shake when they feel very afraid? Do people shake when they feel very afraid? Yes. People
Yes,
shake
people
when they
shake when
feel
they
very
feel
afraid.
very afraid.
Very good. Okay. What's the best way to guard against becoming ill? What's the best way to guard against becoming ill? The best way to
The best
guard
way to
against
adapt
becoming
the
ill
is
is to
to
eat healthy food,
eat healthy
sleep
food,
well,
to
and do
well and
exercise.
do exercise.
Very good. Must we be on our guard when we buy something from a man selling things in the street? Must we be on our guard when we buy something from a man selling things in the street? Yes, we
Yes,
must
we should
be. We
we
must
must be
be on our guard
on our
when we
guard
buy
when
something from a
buy something
man
from a
selling
man
things in the street.
in the street.
Why? Why? Because maybe
Because
we
we
won't be
maybe
able to
won't be
find
able
him
to
again
find him
if
again
there's a
when
problem with the thing.
when
If there's
the
a problem with
thing
the thing we bought,
with the thing we bought.
where we have bought. Very good. One more.
Ah,
Because maybe we
because
won't
maybe
be able to
won't
find
be able
him
to
again
find him again
if there's a
with
problem
the
with the
problem with
thing we bought.
the thing bought.
Very good. So better buy on a vending machine. Very good. Okay, next. What's the opposite of on your guard? What's the opposite of on your guard? The
The
opposite of
opposite
on your guard
on
is off
guard
your guard.
of guard.
Very good. What's the best way to calm somebody down when he's very angry? What's the best way to calm somebody down when he's very angry? The best way to
That's
calm
best way
somebody down when
down
he's
is
very angry is to
is
speak
very hard
quietly
to
and
speak
pleasantly to him.
quietly and less
Pleasantly to him.
pre
Pleasantly,
pre
like nicely. Pleasantly
presently.
to him. Very good. One
To
more. The best way to
the best
calm
way to
somebody
calm
down when
down
he's very
when he's
angry
very
is to
angry
speak
is to
quietly
speak
and
quietly
pleasantly
and
to him.
presently to him.
And does it work with you? No, doesn't work, right? I'm still mad. Okay, next. Are we having calm weather at the moment? Are we having calm weather at the moment? Yes or no?
Yes,
We're
I'm having
having.
a
Oh,
calm weather at the
we're
moment.
we're having calm weather
We are
at the moment.
calm weather at the moment.
Very good. Okay. What are the two ways of forming the second conditional with the verb to be? What are the two ways of forming the second conditional with the verb to be? The two ways of
The two ways
forming the
of
second
forming
conditional
the
with the verb to be
how to
are
or to be
if I
are
was and
I
if I
was
were.
I were.
Very good. If you were a millionaire, where would you live? If you're a millionaire, where would you live? If I were a
I a
millionaire, I would
millionaire,
live
I
in
live in Vienna
Vienna. There's a lot of sausage there. Why? Why? Because
because Vienna is famous for its music
hmm
and classical music. So I
is that
want to go to
Vienna. You
uh,
like classical music. Like Espanol there, like Obla Espanol, right? Okay, next. If I were you, which language would I speak? If I were you, which language would I speak? If you were me,
if
you
you
would
are
speak
me, you would
Japanese.
speak Japanese.
If you were a queen, what would your husband be called? If you were a queen, what would your husband be called? If I were a queen, my
Queen
husband would be called
would
a
be
king.
called king.
Very good. If there wasn't a light in this room, would we be able to see well when it got dark? If there wasn't a light in this room, would we be able to see well when it got dark? No.
No,
If
we
there
won't.
wasn't
If
a light
there
in
was
this room,
a light in
we
this
wouldn't
room,
be able
we
to
wouldn't
see
be able
well
to
when
see
it got
well
dark.
when it it get got
It
it
got
get dark.
dark.
It got
It dark.
it, it got it got dark.
We would see badly.
We would see badly.
Very good. Okay. If there weren't any good food in the world, would we all die? If there weren't any food in the world, would we all die? Yes.
If
If there weren't any
there were
food in the
any
world,
food
we
or
would all
we
die.
would die.
Very good. If you weren't you, who would you like to be? If you weren't you, who would you like to be? If I weren't
If
me, I
were
would
me,
like to be
I would like to be
who? The president of Vienna?
yeah,
The really?
yeah,
Okay, why? Why? Because
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 it would
I will rule Vienna, right? No.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can watch all classical concert I want. Well, for free. Okay, next. Can we use the expression if I were you to give advice to somebody? Can we use the expression if I were you to give advice to somebody? Yes, we can
Yes,
use the
we can
expression if
use
I
the
were
expression
you to
I
give
were you
advice to
to give
somebody.
advice to somebody.
Give me an example. Give me
Sorry.
okay, you're fine. To water, no?
Thank you.
Okay, drink water whenever you want.
Okay.
Okay, next. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. If I were you,
If I were
I would
you,
eat
I
more
would eat
vegetables,
more vegetables.
or I wouldn't buy
If
that car.
I I wouldn't buy the car.
If I were you,
If I were
yeah,
you,
maybe the car is like ugly. Okay, next. What's the biggest problem in your life at the moment? What's the biggest problem in your life at the moment? The biggest problem
the biggest
in my life
problem
at the
I
moment is
in studying.
studying. That's my biggest problem before as well. Okay, next. Give me give me some advice. Give me some advice, please. If I were you,
If I were you,
I would.
I would.
What would I do?
Mm, I would
I would.
mm,
What? Anything.
eat breakfast.
Eat breakfast. How did you know I haven't eaten yet? Okay, but I had two coffees already. Okay, next. What's another opposite of the verb lose besides find? What's another opposite of the verb lose besides find? Another opposite of
Another
the verb
opposite
lose
of the
besides
verb to
find. Lose,
find is
lose besides
lose
find
beside
is
lose
win.
besides find is
Win.
win.
Yeah, another opposite of lose.
Uh,
Lose find
yeah.
and then lose win. Okay. What are the three forms of win? What are the three forms of win? The three
The
forms of
form
win
of win
are
are
win 1-1.
wo-
Where does your country usually win at football? Does your country usually win at football? Yes or no?
no
My
my
country doesn't
country
usually win
doesn't
at football.
usually win
It
at
usually
football.
loses.
It usually loses.
Yeah, just like my country. What do you do the lottery? Do you do the lottery? Yes or no?
No, I
I
don't do
don't
the
do
lot.
that. You're too young for lottery. If you won £1 million, what would you do with it? If you won £1 million, what would you do with it? If I won
If
a
I
million
were
pounds,
million
I
pounds,
would buy a
I would buy a real estate
well,
and
that's
mansion.
a mansion, or you can buy like a hotel near the ski slope in Hokkaido, right? Okay,
Oh, that's nice.
that's correct. Okay, next, is this pen useless? Is this pen useless? No, that
No,
pen
that's
isn't
it.
useless.
It's use.
It's
It's
useful.
useful.
Very good. What do we do with useless things? What do we do with useless things? We throw
We
useless things
throw
away.
useless away.
What are the two most useful things you possess? What are the two most useful things you possess? The two most useful
Two
things
most
I
things
possess are
are
number one,
laptop
smartphone.
and smartphone.
Very good. That those two. Like I get those answer a lot. Okay, next. Do you think that what you're learning now will be useful to you later on in life? Do you think that what you're learning now will be useful to you later on in life? Yes,
Yes,
I think
I
that
think
what I'm
that
learning now will be
now
useful to
will
me
be
later
useful to
on
me
in life.
later on in life.
Well, why? Why? Because it will
Yes,
help me
it
get work
will help
and
work
speak to
and
people from
speak to
other
people
countries.
from other countries.
Very good. Okay, next. Here we go. What's the contraction of I would? What's the contraction of I would? The contraction of I would
Contract
is I'd.
would decide.
What are the contractions of you would, he would, and she would? What are the contractions of you would, he would, and she would? The contraction
The
of you
contraction
would, he would,
would
and she
you
would
would
are
you would
you'd,
are
he'd,
good
and she'd.
need need.
Very good. If you went to the cinema this evening, which film would you see? If you went to the cinema this evening, which film would you see? If I went
Uh,
to the
if I
cinema
went
this
to the
evening,
cinema this
I'd
evening,
see
I'd see
Detective
the new.
Conan. Oh, the
I
new.
already. I've already watched twice. Was it twice?
Oh, really? So
Yes.
you already
Because
memorized the story, right? You know what will
yes.
happen. Don't do it
Yeah.
the third time. Okay, next. If I were you, which language would I speak? If I were you, which language would I speak? If you were me,
For me,
you'd speak.
you speak Japanese.
Very good. If a plant had no water, would it die? If a plant had no water, would it die? Yes. If a
If
plant
I
had no water,
have
it would
no
die.
water, it will die.
Very good. Next, what's the contraction of bookwood? What's the contraction of bookwood? The contraction
The
of
contraction
bookwood
of
is
book
book.
would booked.
Right? What's the contraction of lesson wood? What's the contraction of lesson wood? The contraction
The
of lesson wood
contraction present would
is lessened.
is present.
What's the contraction of who would? What's the contraction of who would? The
The
contraction of
contraction
who would
of who
is hood.
is food.
What's the contraction of what would? What's the contraction of what would? The
The
contraction of
contraction
what
of
would
what
is
would
whatted.
is what would.
What's the contraction of which would? What's the contraction of which would? The
The
contraction of
contraction
which would
of
is
would
which.
is witched.
Very good. If you were a let's change it. If you were a king, what would your wife be called? If you were a king, what would your wife be called? If I were a
If
king,
you are
my
a king,
wife
I
be called a
would
queen.
call a queen.
Very good. If you lost your way in a large city, who would you ask? If you lost your way in a large city, who'd you ask? If I lost my
I
way
wrote me my
in a
way in
large city,
my city.
I'd ask
I
a policeman.
asked a policeman.
If today were Sunday, what would tomorrow be? If today were Sunday, what would tomorrow be? If today
If
were Sunday,
today would
tomorrow'd be
tomorrow be as tomorrow
Monday.
be a day.
Monday. Very good. Okay, when office workers are too busy to leave their desk for lunch, do they often just have a quick sandwich? When office workers are too busy to leave their desk for lunch, do they often just have a quick sandwich? Yes,
Yeah,
when office workers
office
are too
workers
busy
are
to
too
leave
busy
their desk
to
for
leave
lunch,
their for lunch.
they
They
often
will
just have
offer
a quick
a
sandwich.
sandwich.
Very good. What kind of things do we put in sandwiches? What kind of things do we put in sandwiches? We put meat,
We put meat,
cheese,
cheese,
eggs,
eggs.
smartphones,
No, no,
etc. in sandwiches.
etc. in sandwich.
Imagine like you'll be biting like a smartphone like that, right? Okay. Very good. And that's the end of our revision. Let's have new work. Okay, so let's start. Repeat. Fault,
Four,
faultless,
fortress,
faulty,
40,
fix,
fix,
Very good. Okay, listen. Fault is a noun. It is the synonym of mistakes. For example, if a student makes a mistake in his pronunciation or grammar, it's usually his fault. But it could sometimes be the teacher's fault. Faultless is an adjective. It means without mistake or without fault. For example, faulty. Okay, without fault. For example, my pronunciation isn't usually faultless. I sometimes make mistakes. Faulty is an adjective. It means not working properly or not made correctly. For example, my computer is not working. It's faulty. Fix is a verb. It means to correct or repair something. For example, if my computer is faulty, I don't know how to fix the fault. Okay, let's
Oh,
practice. What's your biggest fault? What's your biggest fault? My
uh,
biggest fault
this
is
is
I skip class. No, you don't
I
do that. I skip class.
no, I
No,
don't
okay.
skip
What my biggest fault is
thought. Yes,
that I watch too much television or I watch too much
uh,
Conan. I watch it many times.
yeah, the true.
Okay, one more. My biggest fault is
Thought
I
is
watch movies
watch
that I
movies
already
that
watched,
I already watched.
and then I tell my friends the story. Oh, he's gonna. Okay. Next, if your computer was faulty, would you know how to fix the fault? If your computer was faulty, would you know how to fix the fault? Yes or no?
No,
If
if
my computer
my
was
computer
faulty, I
faulty,
wouldn't know how to fix
I
the
don't
fault.
know how to fix the fault.
Very good. Are your dictations usually faultless? Are your dictations usually faultless? No. My
No,
dictations
my
aren't
dictation
usually
are
faultless.
usually faultless.
They usually contain
You,
mistakes. They
I
usually
hear
contain mistakes.
they usually contain mistakes.
Very good. If a student makes a mistake in his dictation, is it usually his fault or the teacher's fault? If the student makes a mistake in his dictation, is it usually his fault or the teacher's fault? If the student
If the
makes a
student
mistake in his dictation,
makes
it's
mistake,
usually his fault,
it usually his
but it
fault,
could
but
sometimes be
it
the
sometimes
teacher's
be
fault.
the fault.
Very good. Next, repeat. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
oh, all right.
Very good. Okay, listen. Okay and all right have the same meaning, of course. Okay, let's practice. What can we say instead of okay? What can we say instead of okay? Instead of
Instead
okay,
instead
we
of
can say
okay,
all
I
right.
right.
Very good. Okay, next. Compare.
Compare,
Comparison.
comparison,
Have something in common.
have something in common.
Very good. Okay, listen. Compare, the word compare is a verb. It means to consider the difference between two or more things that are similar. It should be similar. For example, we can compare Michelangelo with Leonardo da Vinci because they did the same similar work. They're both painters. But we
Hmm.
can't compare Michelangelo with Napoleon because Napoleon is an explorer. Michelangelo is a painter
Yeah.
because they were two completely different kinds of dudes or person. Okay,
Okay. Sorry.
No problem. How about water again?
Thank you.
Yeah, always drink water. This is not like a torture that you can't drink. You can always drink anytime you want. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Okay, next. Comparison is a noun. It is the act of comparing two or more things or people. Have something in common means to have something similar to each other. For example, if we want to make a comparison between two people or things, they must have something in common. For example, the
Mm,
both of us, the only common with us is we have hair. So we can compare our hairs. I have short, you have long, right?
right.
Okay, should be comparison. Okay, let's practice. Can we compare Michelangelo with Napoleon? Can we compare Michelangelo with Napoleon? No, we
No,
can't
we can
compare
compare
Michelangelo with Napoleon.
and the matter with
Napoleon.
Napoleon.
Very good. Why not? Why not? Because they were two
They were two
completely different
completely
kinds of
different
people
types of
who
people
did different
who did
things from
different
each
things
other.
from each other.
Very good. What must two people or things have if we want to make a comparison between them? What must two people or things have if we want to make a comparison between them? If we want
If
to
you
make
want
a
to make a
comparison between
comparison
two people
between
or
two
things,
people,
they must have
they must
something
have
in common.
something common.
Where the next repeat ice,
Ice,
cool.
cool.
Where the listen, ice is a noun. It is water that has frozen into a solid state. For example, we put ice in beer, tea, or whiskey, or other drinks that we would like to be cold.
Mhm.
Cool is a verb. It means to make something slightly colder. For example, we use ice for putting in drinks to cool them. Let's practice. What do we use ice for? What do we use ice for? We use ice
We use
for
ice
putting in drinks
putting
to cool
drinks
them, etc.
or etc.
Very good. Next, repeat pour.
Or
Very good. Okay, listen. Pour is a verb. It means to put some drinks in a cup or glass. For example, I'm pouring some water from a bottle into a glass.
mhm.
Okay, let's practice. What am I doing? What am I doing? You're
You
pouring
are
some water
pouring
from a
water from
bottle into a glass.
the glass.
Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to our reading.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Okay, so our reading is at stage 4, paragraph page 287. Back Edward was science. Okay, please start at paragraph page 289 to be going to.
Okay. To be going to.
Mhm.
Intention soon happen. Tell me one use of to be going to. One use of to be going to is to say what we think will happen because of something we know now.
Very good.
What am I going to do? You are going to open the book. You're going to sit down, etc. Do you think it's going to rain soon? Yes, I think it's going to rain soon.
Mhm.
Tell me another use of to be going to. Another use of to be going to is to speak about our future intentions. What are you going to do after the lesson? I'm going to go to work, go home, have lunch, dinner, etc. after the lesson.
Mhm.
Are you going to watch television this evening? Yes, I'm going to watch television this evening. What are you going to have
For you.
for your dinner? Have for your dinner this evening? I'm going to have
Sushi or ramen or like pizza.
sushi. Is very expensive.
That's why you're going to have sushi tonight.
Alright. I'm going to have sushi for my dinner this evening.
Very good.
Are you going to come here again tomorrow? Yes, I'm going to come here again tomorrow. Enjoy museum. What kind of things do you enjoy doing most of all? Do you always enjoy your sorry, the kind of things I enjoy doing most of all are watching television, going to the cinema, etc. Do you always enjoy your weekends? Mm, yes, I always enjoy my weekend.
Very good.
Do you enjoy going to the museums? Uh, yes, I enjoy going to the museums. Do young children enjoy bedtime stories? Yes, young children enjoy bedtime stories. Hole, keyhole. What's this? It's a hole. What kind of hole do we find in a door? We can find a, no, we find
Oh,
a keyhole.
we find a
No,
keyhole.
we find a keyhole in a door. Have you got a hole in your pocket? Yes. No, I haven't got a hole in my pocket.
Very good.
Stupid, intelligent, clever. Is it stupid to believe everything people tell you? Yes, it's stupid to believe everything people tell you. Which do you think are more intelligent, cats or dogs? I think dogs are more intelligent than cats. What's another word for intelligent? Another word for intelligent is clever.
Very good. Okay, so we stop there for today.